Hi everyone, welcome back. Hang on, just make sure testing, because I had a bit of problems with the microphone last time. Testing, yep, it's working fine. Brilliant. So it must have been just yesterday after all. Guys, welcome back to JPWHU TV, second live stream of the night. And also second live stream within 2 days on YouTube as well. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate it. As you can see, my name is John, your host, as always. I hope you're doing well, as always. And as the little banner up here is saying, we're going to run through the West Ham accounts of the 2018-19 season. Before we go any further, please click on the three retro link there below, and to get some very nice retro shirts. If you like the long sleeve t-shirt that I'm wearing as well, there is a link in the description for there as well for the club, the channel shop. So thank you very much, guys. So as this is a review of the accounts, I'm not going to be taking too much from the live chat. You know, we'll literally try and discuss it with as we go along, and by all means, guys, discuss it with yourselves in the chat. But as I say, first of all, saying hello to everybody that's in the chat. Phil Smith, oi Savaloy, how you doing, mate? I'm well, thanks, mate. I hope you are too. As I said, I won't be doing too much of it because there's a lot to go through. HL 2002 evening. Hello, mate. Been looking forward to this, mate. I've been looking forward to getting this over and done with. Yesterday was a fucking pain in the ass. It really was. It was ridiculous. I filmed the original video. I'd filmed it about 6 o'clock. And then for some reason the files were corrupted, so I tried and filmed it again, but they were still corrupted. Then I tried to use this to record it and then upload it. And it was that I had a fault with the microphone. It was all over the place. I just want to get this out on my skin. I really do. James Johnson says, hello, mate. All right, mate. Long time no see. Good, James. I'm glad to see you back, mate. I hope you're keeping well. Jude Morton, hello, Governor. Well, wouldn't go that far, mate, but thanks very much. And James Hammer says, evening, JP. Right, so let's crack straight on with it, guys, because as I say, there is a lot to go through. The 18-19 accounts is a 45-page document to go through. I've been able to whittle it down to 18 pages, so bear with me. This is going to take, I'm hoping, no longer than at least half an hour. So guys, if you want to be cooking, then go and have a listen to it while you're cooking or whatever you're doing, because this is going to take a while. There's a lot to talk about. Just quickly say, Chris Myers, hello, mate. Evening, mate. Good to see you. Lee Rogers, evening, John. Good to speak to you yesterday. Yes, mate. Yes, Lee. Definitely. Certainly was. And Jude Morton says, come in your eyes. Right. So let's crack straight on with it. First and foremost, the report, I'm going to jump around a little bit. By all means. Hey, Mark's in the queue. Hello. Evening, JP and all. Hello, Gazer. Good to see you. I haven't heard from you for a while. Good to see you back. Yeah. So, guys, let's just jump straight onto it. Now, as we all know, there are the three directors, David Gold, David Sullivan, who is the majority shareholder or co-owner, I think he classes himself as, and Karen Brady. There are three other people on the directors board, Andy Mollett, Daniel Harris, and J. Albert Smith. Company secretary is also Andy Mollett, for those who absolutely care about it. The first bit of waffle, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7.5 basically paragraphs of waffle from David Sullivan. So get yourselves ready, guys. The board of WH Holding Limited made a decision at the beginning of 2018 to embark on an investment program that would involve bringing in a world-class manager, investing in better players, and making significant investment into the club's infrastructure. Okay, they certainly tried to embark on it. As a result of this new strategy, don't really know why it's been 10 years. Well, it was 8.5 years at this point, and it's now a new strategy. We signed Manuel Pellegrini, who has the most successful track record as a manager in the club's history. What that should really have said, who's had the most successful track record as a manager before coming to the club in the club's history. Invested £107.9 million in transfer fees and grew the wage cost to £135.8 million. Now, for those who if for those who haven't really looked at things properly, in terms of, because nobody really does. Apparently, the wage cap was at 77. Is it capped at 77 million? So trying to infer and pointing the finger quite quickly, to be honest with you, Manuel Pellegrini for all this money. Oh, there. And grew the grew the first team squad management and staff, and invested 4 million into facilities at Rush Green for the first team and Chadwell Heath for the academy. Right. We also spent 0.6 million pounds, so basically £600,000, in setting up a women's team in the FA Women's Super League, and similar financial outlay will be required in the 2019-20 season. So this first paragraph, not relevant. Half of this is not relevant. It goes on with irrelevance. For the 2019-20 season, the board remains determined to maximise the club's prospects of retaining Premier League status by continuing to make investment in the playing squad. I'll come on to that in a minute. With a further net of £35.8 million being invested during the summer transfer window and under the guidance of Manuel Pellegrini. So again, pointing the finger to him. If the board remains determined to maximise the club's prospects retaining Premier League status, why the fuck was it broadcast that David Sullivan reluctantly dipped into the transfer kitty for last month? That's one question. Guys, let me know your thoughts on that. We now believe we have one of the strongest squads and management teams in the Premier League, but we'll always look to continue to invest and build on this strong squad base. Again, nope. We ended season 2018-19 in 10th position. Yes, I agree with him, but with much more optimism than before. Yep, agreed. And a general belief that the direction of the club was heading in was the right one. Yeah, I agree with that. I can't argue with that. We were thinking, yes, we're all right. We've got a good manager. We finished 10th. I said at the start of the season, this season, things can only get better, as the old saying goes. This good form has continued into the 2019-20 season. No, it bloody well hasn't. Christ knows when they typed this one up. Or he typed this one up, I should say. The investment in the squad, manager and facilities has contributed to the loss in this financial year, pointing the finger straight away once again, with both player costs and amortization increasing, so basically spending, increasing significantly from 2017 to 18. But we believe in the long term. This is proof that this is written by David Sullivan, because this grammar is poor, to say the least. It should be, we believe in the long term, comma, the investment, comma, will prove to be successful. That's how it should be broken out, but it's not. Turnover during the year was £190.7 million. I'll come on to what they talk about turnover in a minute, with an increase of £15.3 million from 2017 to 18, with all the areas of the club improving. Guys, please let me know what you think David Sullivan's definition of improvement is, because it certainly isn't mine. We reached a satisfactory outcome to most of our legal issues with the owner of the London Stadium. Well, what was the rest of them? And we were able to increase our capacity to 60,000 as a result, with the additional seats being the additional seats were sold. It should be with the additional seats which were sold in a matter of hours. There is such a demand for tickets that we need to increase the capacity again, something we're looking to do this year. So guys, as we all know, apparently we're going to try and push it up to, was it 62,045, to get it a little bit higher than Spurs's one. We have also now obtained the claret pitch surround, which we had been striving to install since we moved into the stadium. Not really. I don't think so. I don't remember any conversation being about it for the last 5 years, or 4 years, I should say, or 3.5 as it stands at the minute, but it will be 4 in the summer. It's been a year, 13 months max. This has really improved the look and feel of the stadium for our supporters and players alike. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it has. It does make it does make it look a bit more like West Ham. I like that. That's fine. Our supporters and our staff on and off the pitch are our focus. Guys, let me know what you think on that. And we continue to work hard to ensure that we fulfill fulfill all of the expectations. Again, which is how it should have been written. David Sullivan, principal owner and care chairman. Now, guys, the chat's gone a little bit quickly, but it's quiet here. But for some random reason, but there's a lot of people still watching this video. So, guys, I'm just going to jump onto the YouTube for a second to see if there's any conversations that the streaming service hasn't picked up on, because apparently that is a bit of a fault with StreamYard. So, bear with me 2 seconds, guys. I just had to mute it there to make sure that everything. You didn't hear me waffling on again. Oh, here we go. Back. So nice conversations. Everyone's talking to each other now. All come in. Bruno, hello, Bruno. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, they've all jumped in all of a sudden. Kent Hammers, this is an interesting one. There's such a demand for seats there. See if we are in Championship when we don't fill half our stadium and all the hangers clear off. Agreed, mate. Yeah, I'm in 2 minds about getting my season ticket next season, I must admit. Nathan the Challenger, good to see you, fella. We should get golden hammers on the roof like the Cockerel on the Spurs Stadium. God, that would be awful. Nathan, I know you're 14 ton, but Jesus. Right. So, turnover. Turnover represents the fair value of all amounts received and receivable in respect to football matches played, goods sold, i.e. players and merchandise, and service provided during the period, excluding VAT or value-added taxes is done in there, returns, discounts, and rebates. That's more to do with tax returns and all that sort of stuff. Gate receipts and other match day revenue are recognised as games are played. So basically on the turnover. Sponsorship and similar commercial income are recognised over the duration of the respective contracts. Yeah. The fixed element of broadcasting revenues is recognised over the duration of the football season, whilst facility fees received for live coverage or highlights are taken when earned. Yeah, so it basically means, in other words, here we go. Here's a pot of money you're getting at the start of the season, and any highlights for match of the day, Sky Sports, ESPN's one, etc., etc. They get extra little bonuses on top of that. So it goes on to waffle on about a little bit, which is I'm not going to bore you guys with because it's just not important. We don't care about this. Signing on fees payable under an employment contract are contracted for on an earnings basis, where such fees are payable in equal annual installments under football and FA Premier League regulations. They are charged to the profit and loss account evenly over the period of the player's contract. So, for example, when as we all know, we signed Jared Bowen on deadline day, even though it's probably done in the morning, because the media team wanted to piss around and get the video out. So they were more interested in getting the video out than actually announcing it to everybody and trying to be dramatic, because it was at the crunch time. That £16 million in advance would be staggered over whatever. Like, so he's on a 5.5-year deal, so that'd be staggered over the 5.5 years, and then obviously there's the bonuses will be because it was about 6 million add-ons, if I remember correctly. So that would probably be about 1 million every season. So it goes on to stocks, which we don't care about. Transfer of player regulations completed subsequent to 31st of May 2019 amount to a net value of £35,817,000, inclusive of player-related agent fees. So they haven't actually spent £35.8 million on players. They spent that in total, which are inclusive of fees payable by the group. In 2018, we spent £89,455,000 in total, with a further net of £3,434,000 payable contingent on certain future events, which again we'll come on to. So again, that we haven't spent a lot of money. It is about the 25 million pound that we were talking about, and the rest of that 11 million pounds has gone on agent fees. Getting shafted here, guys. We really, really are. During the year to 31st of May 2019, the company took out a short-term loan with Rights and Media Funding Limited, which I will talk about at the end of the video about who they are, of 42 million pounds, which secured on a fixed and floating charge on all assets of the club. So basically, that 42 million pound was taken out against the club itself. The training grounds, such as they are, the club shop, such as it is, etc., etc. At 31st of May 2019, obviously it would have been weighted against the players as well, for that matter. At the 31st of May 2019, the balance outstanding on the loan was £20.5 million, which was repaid in full on the 12th of July 2019. So for those 12 weeks, we took out £42 million, sold a few players, and paid it back. That's basically how I'm interpreting it. A new loan of £39 million from Rights and Media Funding Limited was drawn down in 3 separate tranches, it says, which basically installments, on the 31st of July, 16th of August, and 27th of August, respectively. And I will go into that amount as well again in a little while. The total borrowing is secured on a fixed and floating charge, blah, 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 and is repayable by July to 2020. On the 28th of August 2019, the club made 2 payments totaling £2,912,500 in settlement of interest accrued during the year on the shareholder loans and partial repayment of loan capital. These loans were originally made from December 2011 to April 2013, and they have accrued interest at 4.25%. So if I remember correctly, that's an interest payments, interest value came up to about £2.6 million, if I remember correctly. Now, back to the waffle. It's from the club secretary, not from David Sullivan this time. Future prospects. Retaining our position in the Premier League for the 2018-19 season has allowed the club to continue to benefit from increased Premier League distributions, basically TV deals, from the 3rd year of the broadcasting agreement. Retention of our status in the 2019-20 season is an absolute necessity for the future well-being of the club, and we have once again invested in the personnel both on and off the pitch to achieve this. Really? We are at a relegation scrap as it stands at the moment. We are in the bottom 3 with a point clear. Sorry, a point away from safety, with bastard clubs coming up games to play. We also renewed and increased our short-term secured facility for a further year in July 2019, which enabled us to invest in more on-field talent during the summer transfer window. So again, they've taken a further loan out on top of the stuff that they've already taken out to make sure, where the fuck is this money going? Which again, I'll come on to in a moment, especially bearing in mind that WHU earlier today put up the fact that David Sullivan is wanting to sell the shop that he owns. I can't remember the name of the shop now. That is smack bang next to Bond Street. He wants to sell it for 50 million quid. That's roughly how much we apparently we've spent in the January transfer window. What the fuck is going on? The group's principal business risk remains that of the football club being relegated from the FA Premier League, with the serious financial consequences which follow. So basically, this is the what's the term of using it? You put it in. This is the worst case scenario. The group prepares budgets 3 seasons in advance, which include an evaluation of the impact of relegation and associated I can never say this word properly, contingency plans. Right. So what was the contingency plan at the start of the season that made David Sullivan reluctantly dig into the pot and buy and get through a few players? Bearing in mind we've let a very, very good star of the academy, Anthony Scully, go to Lincoln City on a permanent basis. It was released earlier today. Not happy about that in any shape or form. Really, really not. Selling our best assets. And Anthony Scully has got all the potential to be that, from what I understand. As you guys probably would have known from watching the 12 Days of a West Ham Christmas, where I mentioned about the academy graduates I want to see come into the starting the senior squad. He was one of them. We can't see that now. We can't see Joe Powell either. Dan Kemp's gone on loan to Stevenage, and they are in a relegation scrap. It just makes no sense. It just really makes no sense. It is a feature of football clubs' income streams that a significant element is known in advance because of its long-term contractual nature. Yeah, again, understandable. As I said earlier, right, here's the amount of money you're going to be getting for X amount of seasons, right? Centrally negotiated broadcast and sponsorship deals are presently in place until the end of the 22-23 season, which around about, if I've done my mathematics correctly, is the time that they can sell the club to the first bidder they find and not have to pay any money to the LLDC or the E20 group or whatever subsection of it is. The group's own major sponsorship and partnership agreements are also in place until the end of the seasons of 2020 and 2021, respectively. Season ticket sales, including corporate sales, are made at the start of each season or accounting year, which makes no sense because it's exactly the same thing. And represent the bulk of the group's match day revenue, which again I'll come on to in a minute. It follows that in the region of 75% of the group's annual turnover will be guaranteed, or in many cases received, by the 31st of July each year. So basically 75% of that 190 million pounds we've made is going to the board. Let's not mix our words. That's exactly what the situation. That's exactly how it reads. To the extent that there are ever any material variances from forecast, which basically means if there's going to be a bit of a change to the income coming in and expenditure going out, football clubs are in the unique position of being able to trade footballers, get ready for this, during the transfer window to address any potential liquidity risks, i.e. being strapped for cash. Although this ability can on occasion be constrained if less transfer activity is conducted by clubs either domestically or internationally in any one transfer window. So basically, we can only buy if people are willing to sell. Doesn't that sound like Del Boy? Clubs can also normally accelerate the receipt of deferred elements of transfer fees, i.e. the instalment payments, receivable by discounting those proceeds with a financial institution, aka taking a loan out, although there can be no certainty of the availability of such funding, which is absolutely correct. You can't always, it's kind of like in a way going down to one of those money lenders and saying, instead of putting your watch down, say, all right, we'll have 50 quid, say, right, here's Carlos Sanchez, right, here's £2.50. It's like that. That's basically what they're referring to. At the London Stadium, we rely on the stadium operator to obtain the annual safety certificate, but we will continue to hold £500 million of public liability insurance in respect of any one occurrence. So basically, we are only insured if one injury or fatality, God forbid, and neither happen at the London Stadium. They have a maximum amount of money they can use of £500 million to pay out. Now, going concern. Now, this is where the breakdown comes in more to do with the loan that we were talking about earlier. On the 29th of July 2019, the board drew down additional short-term loan finance of £10 million and made further drawdowns, i.e. further loans, on the facility of 16 million on the 13th of August and 13 million on the 27th of August 2019. This funding, as discussed earlier, is repayable by July 2020. The total value of the facility is £75 million. That's the maximum amount of money we can borrow, and is secured by a fixed and floating charges. Again, is fixed against the club. So the maximum amount of money we can offset the property, should we say, we can borrow a maximum of 75 million quid. The board has to assess the risk in relation to the group's forecast trading performance. The group has prepared an approved forecast for the current and forthcoming season, including a period of at least 12 months from the date of signing these financial statements. So basically, what it means is like, okay, so they've taken out, let's say for argument's sake, that they've taken out that 39 million pounds. And they said, right, what we're going to do is that we'll be able to offset this 12 million pounds over because of X, Y, and Z happening in the next 12 months. That's basically what it means. The board also performed sensitivity analysis on these formats, including the identification of mitigating actions to take account of any projected shortfalls and such as those which may occur as a result of relegation from the Premier League. It's kind of it's a little bit of fluffing way of saying that, you know, this is exactly what we're going to do if we get relegated, pretty much. Mitigating actions include alternative sources of loan finance, and you'll want us to have that option when I tell you about the information about the company we've loaned them money from. The option of player disposals, i.e. sales, to generate transfer fee income and wage savings. And there again, as well as support from its investing owners, i.e. Trip Smith, which I think is down there as J. Albert Smith. The board has concluded that its forecast for the year in question and the assumptions on which it is based, it's never good to see that in accounting, but it's the way things happen, are sufficiently robust to justify the confidence in the group's ongoing status. So basically what it means is that, you know, we're confident this is going to happen. A major element of the group's annual turnover comes from contractual broadcasting and central sponsorship distributions, as again mentioned earlier, and is therefore effectively guaranteed for the seasons covered by the company's forecasts. The company also generates turnover from season ticket, match ticket, corporate and retail sales, and while the board recognizes uncertainties about these sources of income, i.e. they know they're charging way too much fucking money, and then the amount of money is not always going to be especially with it when it comes to the shirts and everything, that's not always going to be a reliable source of income. The evidence of the new season at London Stadium is that demand remains strong due to the high level of support and loyalty enjoyed by the club, as shown again by over 50,000 season ticket sales for the 1920 season. Now, for those who have been keeping track of what's been going on, Karen Brady said when she was interviewed by Sky News that it was 54,000 season ticket sales. So 4,000 people, bit of a difference. You know, that's a couple of £1 million worth of sales difference. Right. In the event of in the event of, I just want to make sure that I wasn't rereading stuff because I did that with my earlier notes. In the event that the foregoing initiatives did not generate the necessary cash flows to allow the group to operate within its secured borrowing limits, i.e. that we haven't borrowed enough money, the group's current providers of short-term loan finance, was it bloody Wonga, and certain of the investing owners have undertaken to provide what the board has concluded would be a sufficient level of financial support to allow the group to continue to meet its debts as they fall due for at least 12 months from the date of approval for these financial statements. Consequently, after making inquiries and taking account of the uncertainties described above, the directors have a reasonable expectation that the group has adequate resources to continue in operational existence for the foreseeable future. So either way, whatever happens, we've got money. It doesn't say we've got money to spend, but we've got money to keep the club going. Accordingly, the directors continue to adopt the going concern basis in preparing the annual report and financial statements. So let's just take a bit of a break out of that, guys, because I've been going for almost half an hour now, and we're only coming up to, unfortunately, the bits that we should be talking about. So I'm just going to take a few questions from the group. Phil Smith asks, John, should I pay my rent or buy tickets for West Ham? Mate, come on. Jack Notridge, I am a Palace fan, but love your content. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Jack. Much appreciated. if you like what I'm doing, guys, then by all means, do subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a review of the Pellets game coming up soon, very very shortly, I should imagine, when we play. Because but anyway, we'll talk about that. Yanni Connor United's in the group. Hello, mate. Good to see you. James Johnson says, we want our club back. We want our club back. Yep, I totally agree with you, son. Phil Smith says, sack the board, sack the board, sack the board. That's Bruno correcting a spelling mistake. Mark says, just don't know what to say about it, mate. What his ideas of improvement the facilities differs from the real world. Let's take a few more recent up-to-date comments. Guys, this is not me. Someone's pretending to be me, but thank you very much, mate. It's always nice to have somebody impersonating yourself, because it means you're doing a good job. Kent Hammer says, John, long and short of all this is to say they were hoping to keep us up on the bare minimum, but this January they had to buy borrowing because we are in trouble. Otherwise it would have coasted to 23. Exactly, mate. It would have coasted to 2023 to sell. Mr. Mark says, Mr. Gold and Sullivan, if such a necessity to stay in the EPL, why wasn't there a plan in place to bring players on the opening day of the transfer window? Agreed, mate. Absolutely agreed. Stephen Spriggs, hello, guys. Nice to see you. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, mate. Rafi says, am I the only one who doesn't think relegation is inevitable? Watford, Norwich and Villa are worse than us. That's a conversation for another time, Gazer. Rich Thomas says, good work, JP. Keep it going. Thank you very much, mate. Mark says, financially secure, or that we can keep borrowing money. It's one and the other. Right, so let's go on to the more nitty-gritty and the slightly more boring sides of it, to be honest with you. Rob says, sooner the ball go, the better. Agreed, mate, but we're stuck with them for at least 2 to 3 years, unfortunately. Right, so this is part under the key performance indicators, but which I won't go into because it's boring to describe them. In 2014-15, we finished 12th in the table. Yeah, we got to the 5th round of the FA Cup, 2nd round of the League Cup, and the average league gate was 34,874. That's basically the average of every single person that went to the London Stadium went to the bowling, I should say. At the last season, the 14-15 season. The turnover ratio for the wages was 60%, and operating profit before exceptional terms and items and player trading, basically operating profit before normal spending, £27 million. For the last season at the Bowling, 2015-16, we finished 7th in the league, as we all know. We got to the 6th round of the FA Cup, the 3rd round of the League Cup. The average attendance for the game was 34,910 people. Again, the turnover wage ratio was 60%, and an operating profit was £31.5 million. First season at the London Stadium, the 16-17 season. 11th in the table. We got to the 3rd round of the FA Cup, the 5th round of the League Cup. Average attendance, 56,972. Now, I take issue with this because if I remember correctly, we only had 54,000 seats available, apparently, didn't we? Guys, let me know in the chat if I'm talking crap, but I could have sworn it was supposed to be 54,000. So apparently we've had over 2,000, or we've had almost 7,000 people more, 3,000 people more than that stadium's capable of holding. Okay. Turnover wage ratio was 51.8%, and the operating profit before blah 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 is 56,007. 56 million 0.7. Lee Rogers says 57,000. Apologies, I could have sworn it was 54, but thanks for correcting me on that one, mate. Much appreciated. 17-18 season, 13th league position. Got to the 4th round of the FA Cup, 5th round of the League Cup. Average turnover at the stadium 56,923, which we know is all complete bollocks. turnover wage ratio 60.8% and operating profits of 34.7 million pounds. But so what we need to show is the first league season at the London Stadium, we made almost, I'd say about 80% double profit, 80% of the double profit than the last season at the Bowling. And yet the second season, we only made 3.2 million more profit. That doesn't feel right. That really doesn't feel right. I know there's going to be a lot of things to take into consideration, but for the 16-17 season, we spent a stupid amount of money, yet we're still able to get almost double bubble, basically. Oh, that's weird. And then 18-19 season, we finished 10th in the table, 4th round of the League Cup and FA Cup. Average attendance is 58,325. Turnover wage ratio of 71.2% and operating profit of 20.7 million pounds, as confirmed by Andy Mollett. Right, so let's go into the turnover details itself. So in 2018, we had a total of £175,346,000 turnover. Other operating income of £1,232,000. Administrative expensive of £184,520,000, which meant a group operating loss of £7,942,000. Player trading was £41,021,000, which means a loss of £41,021,000. The operations excluding player trading, group turnover the same values. Administrative expenses for that £143,499,000, which made a group operating profit of £33,079,000. In 2019, the total, as I say, £190,695,000. Other operating income, £2,009,000. Administrative expensive, £229,397,000, which means a loss of £36,693 from that. Administrative expenses on player trading, £57,371,000, with a operating loss of £36,693,000. Apologies, I've repeated the same figure again. It's the operating loss of those player trading is the same value, £57,371,000. Operations excluding player trading, other than, so we've already talked about the group turnover, how much the money was. It was £2,009,000, exactly the same. Administrative expenses of operations, £172,026,000. Group operating profit or loss of a profit of £20,678,000. So a little bit less than the £25 million profit was reported earlier. Just scripts through a little bit of that. It goes on to say about cash in the bank. So I'm not really sure. I haven't really taken the analysis too deeply, but apparently it looks like in 2018 we had £98,441,000 worth of debt. And then as it for the creditors, and amounts falling due within 12 months of the 2019 end of the season, £131,952,000. For anybody that wants to know the exact figures, go and have a look at page 22 of the accounts, which are on the West Ham website. That's the page number. And then basically there's a lot of other stuff in there. It goes on about shareholders' debts and all that sort of stuff. And it goes on about fixed assets. Right, now this is the interesting thing. For the last 2 seasons, apparently we've invested £123,199,000 in fixed assets, which is obviously comes into the 4 types of training grounds. Chadwell Heath, Beckton Community Centre, I think we're linked to as well. and Little Heath and Rush Green. Those are the 4, if I remember correctly. Again, correct me, guys, if I'm wrong on this. Current debts of assets £32,235,000. Creditors payment of £9.5 million. So net assets of £145,934,000, which is exactly the same as last season. The total shareholders funds is showing as a profit of £145,934,000 as it was for the last 2 seasons. I don't really think you guys want to talk about that side of things. So in total, in the 2018, we made a profit in the financial year of £17,377,000, but this season, the 18-19 season, we made a loss of £27,255,000. So it's all split up very, very differently for a lot of things. So again, it's going on about shares because they have to equate for everything. Well, we always have a look just to do here. Cash flow from investing activities, purchase of tangible fixed assets. No, purchase. This is more important. Purchase of player registrations. In 2017-18, we spent £63,037,000 on that. In the 2018 season, the 18-19 season, we spent £71,982,000. Proceeds from disposable of player registrations, net of costs. I don't think that's worded correctly. Proceeds of disposable player registrations. Yeah, £50 million, £927,000 in 17-18. In 18-19, £22,780,000 of that for that season. Cash flow from financing activities. Bank and other loans advance in 17-18. We had an advance of £34.5 million. Bank and other loans repaid £45 million, as again was discussed a little bit earlier, and interest paid £12,654,000. So that's how much the 2 Davids would have taken from the club in the 2017-18 season. £12.5 million in interest. This season, my calculations, as I said a little while ago, a few days ago, wasn't that far off it either, for that matter. Bank and other loans advanced in 2018-19, £45 million. Bank and other loans repaid £36,800,000, and interest paid £6,847,000. That's how much the 2 Davids have taken from the 18-19 season. In 2017-18, net cash generated financing activities, a loss of £23,154,000. For this 18-19 season, £6,353,000. And then it goes on about depreciation of stuff. I'm not really going to go into that. It doesn't really matter. There's bank charges as well. There's group turnover about okay, so 2018 match receipts and related football activities, £24,521,000. Broadcast and central sponsorship distributions, £118,542,000. Commercial activities, £24,065,000. Retail and merchandising, $8,218,000, meaning a income of £175,346,000. So this is what I was saying earlier about the breakdown of the turnover. So in 2019, match receipts and related football activities, £27,131,000. So an increase of £2.5 million. Broadcast and central sponsorship distributions, £127,419,000. So just under 19 million pounds worth of increased income. Commercial activities, 27,422,000 pounds, so just under 3 million pounds more. Retail and merchandising, £8,723,000, so an increase of just under, I should say, £500,000, and that's what the £190,695,000 group, the turnover is. Now, where is it? Yeah. So let's come on to the topic of the day, and it has been for the last week or so. Staff costs and employees. Wage and salaries in 2018 was £93,768,000. In 2019, £118,880,000. Social security costs in 2018, £12,745,000. Social security costs in 2019, £16,750,000. And other pension costs, £121,000 in 2018 and £166,000 in 2019, which basically means the wages for 2018 is £106,635,000. In 2019, £135,796,000. So quite an increase in wages for there. Where are we? So an average monthly number of persons employed, including directors, monthly in 2018 it was 101 people. In 2019 it's 110 people on average per month being employed by the company. Players, team management and training. So yeah, so that's included of it. And commercial and administration, 191 people in 2018 and 212 people in 2019. There's also part-time employees. So basically in total, without rambling too much about it, 435 people employed in 2018 and 542 people employed in 2019. Now, here it comes. This is what everyone's been waiting for. Wages for, and I'm not joking, this is exactly how it's quoted, highest paid director. In 2018, £898,000. In 2019, the highest paid director received £1,136,000. They don't say on the accounts who it is, but we all know exactly who it is, and that is without the current bun income they also receive. Now, profit on disposal of players. So basically, players we've sold. Basically, 2018, £29,938,000, and on 2019, actually, we made a profit on sale of players of £10,482,000. Profit of loan of players, £2,171,000, which means we made a profit of all players sold and loaned in the 18-19 season of £12,653,000. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. We made more money in the 17-18 season than we did last season from that. Interest receivable and similar income, 2018 is £24,000, and 2019, which is basically bank and other interest receivable, £47,000. Interest payable on secured loans are actually, do you know what? I'm not going to whack all that. I'm just going to put it in total. Interest payable and similar expenses, £3,711,000 in 2018 and £4,187,000 in 2019. That repeats itself. blah 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 blah. We're not going to talk about that because that's just not really what we're sort of talking about. Yeah, so the properties, as I mentioned earlier, is Chadwell Heath Training Ground, Little Heath Training Ground, Rush Green Training Ground, and Beckton Community Centre. The historical cost equivalent of revalued properties, basically all those, is £7,815,000 if you're interested in there, guys. And then it goes on about provisions, which which basically in layman's terms is what is companies say, right, okay, well, we're not going to be able to sell this, we're not being able to blah blah blah. We need to cover, let's say for example, there's £15 million worth of old debt. We need to provision at least 16-17 million pounds, set that aside for it, which is pretty much what that is referring to. Now, so I mentioned to you guys earlier about Rights and Media Funding Limited, the company that the club has been borrowing money from for the last 3 years. They are formerly called JG Funding, which is based in the UK and regulated by the Financial Services Authority. Now, if this doesn't have David Sullivan written all over it, I don't know what does. However, Rights and Media Funding Limited receives its money from 2 offshore lenders based in the Isle of Man, which link back to a company called Mousehole Limited in the British Virgin Islands. Think of that what you will. It remains to be seen whether West Ham will fall foul of the new regulations coming in the 16-17 season. That's directly from WHU. And also, what I will do once this is live, I'll put in the in the link in the description below as well, guys, so you can actually see what I'm talking about. That article. Now, the interesting thing is, right, I don't know how much attention you guys have been paying. But first and foremost, thank you very much to everybody that's got to the channel to 1,400 subscribers during this broadcast. It really, really means a lot to me, guys. I know there's only one person that subscribed, but that's it. We're at 1,400 now. Thank you very much for all your support. It really, really means a lot. And this is the last bit I want to talk to you about. Now, as I said, I don't know how interested you are in looking at the accounts on the website. But PwC have been the independent auditors from 2009-10 season to date. Now, I had a bit of a research into this because the company that I work for, and most big businesses, when they get audited at the end of the season, at the end of their financial year, which, you know, for West Ham United, and I'm guessing the majority of all football clubs is going to be at the end of this football season. It doesn't matter if you're Premier League, League One, etc., etc. They will get heavily regulated and heavily audited over everything, and I do mean everything. From what I've seen firsthand, it is a lot that they go over. They go over they're trying to equate for every single thing that they find is weird. Now, this is the reason why the accounts were published at the end of January, because that's the length of time they had up until the end of February to file their accounts. And so obviously this is the published accounts, which is great. I'm very, very grateful that the club have gone out of their way to do that. But as I say, PwC have been auditing them since 2009, 2010. According to my manager, I'm not saying it's wrong, but this is part of regulations. Independent auditors the same company can only audit for a maximum period of 4 years, from what I understood. So I did a little bit more research, and I thought I'd go into a little bit more detail. And Lee, if you're still about, mate, this is the little bit we were talking about on Saturday. In relation to what I've asked Hammers United to have a look at with their solicitors to find out if PwC and the club themselves are in breach. I'm not making any allegations at this point. I'm just literally reading the code that says here. It says the IFAC states in its international standard on quality control, which is exactly what auditing is, the ISQC, that's the initials of it, 15th of December 2009, it states that, and I quote, the IESBA code brackets International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants brackets recognizes that the familiarity threat is particularly relevant in the context of financial statement audits of listed entities. and West Ham, unfortunately, is an entity. For these audits, the IESBA code requires the rotation of the key audit partner after a pre-defined period, normally no more than 7 years, and provides related standards and guidance. National requirements may establish shorter rotation periods. End quote. So basically, what that infers, or so is actually implying rather than inferring, is that unless there's a predefined period, West Ham and PwC shouldn't really be doing anything for more than a 7-year period, unless there's some form of there's some provision put in place for that. Now, so as I say, guys, this is my roundup of the accounts. As I said, there's a lot of bullshit in here. Mostly the statement done at the beginning of the accounts that David Sullivan and Andy Mollett has done for people like me that are going to be reading them to justify themselves. It doesn't really confirm a lot of information in terms of where the money's actually gone, but it's showing that we are spending a shitload of money on money on loans. We are loaning. Sorry, let me rephrase that. It appears that we are borrowing a lot of money, and a lot more than I think we should be, especially with the incomes coming in. It's ridiculous. But those are my thoughts, guys. I'm sorry it's taken us almost an hour to get there, but I wanted you to go through everything with me. So, guys, thank you very much for your time. Let's see what Mark says. There's an interesting little. He's had a few things to say. Actually, no. Let's have a look at Ian from Hammers Polls. Good to see you, mate. And Rush Green is still crap. Yep. YouTube SBX says UAKGP disappointing result for the Brighton. Should have been of one. Not really sure what he's on about then. Mark says when most owners of other clubs don't take any interest in loans. Cheers for rinsing our club chaps, and they wonder why we hate them. Well, this is a very good point, Mark, because as awful as Mike Ashley has been with Newcastle, he's not taken a penny on interest. Tells you. Even a small family business has more employees. Agreed. And I don't know, Mark, to be honest with you, I don't know if that is representative of each 1,000, but I wouldn't have thought so. Always said we buy high and sell low. Great businessman, eh? Barry Beard says difference in profit for players sale, is that down to poor and cheap buying that you cannot get rid of? Yeah, basically, Mark, Barry, sorry. Yes, mate. Yeah, at the end of the day, we can't. We're paying over the odds and selling them for 2/3 of the price. For example, trying to get rid of Carlos Sanchez, and this also broke earlier today. Now, the reason why his loan deal to Granada broke down, from what I understand, is because he rejected it. Apparently 2 clubs from Spain and somewhere else came in for him, and he said, no, I don't want to move because I want to fight for my place. Oh, Sanchez wants to fight for his place. It's honorable. I respect him for it, but that's fucking stupid. That really is stupid. David, as always, catching the party late. Hi, John. Good to see you, Dave. No, I hope you're all right, mate. And David Truelock says, good channel. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. But guys, as I say, those are my thoughts on it. Hope you really, for those that have been watching, it's been around about the amount of figures of the 40 that are currently watching for the last pretty much hour. So guys, thank you very much for sticking with me for the last hour or just under an hour. It really means a lot. And as I say, it's very nice for us to get to the 1,400 subscriber mark as well. So guys, I really respect you all for doing that. And I respect this. The whole reason why I did this is because I want you guys to know the truth. It is tiring work. It took me a long time to get through these accounts. But I hope you've enjoyed it. And one last thing before we go, Matthew Evans says Hernandez took more money out of West Ham than the owners have ever done. Pellegrini even worse. Well, it isn't, mate. If you watch this whole video, I've shown how much money they've taken. But guys, thank you very much for your time. If you're new around here and you like what I'm doing, you don't have to be West Ham. I do a lot of watch along with on Sunday. I will be doing a live watch along with for the Man City game, or the Man City debacle, as I like to call it, because we know we're going to get turned over left, right, and centre. Rob Jones says, "Hi guys, good to meet you, Rob. Nice, thank you for popping in." We also have Loki73. At least you get to see your accounts. Good point. I'm guessing you're an Arsenal supporter. To be honest with you, Loki, do yourself a favour. The only reason why I've been able to find out where these are over the last couple of years is just Google it. Google Arsenal accounts, and you may be pleasantly surprised. It's hard work going through this. As I say, it's taken me most of the week and a lot of practice. Technical reasons being the reasons why the practice, but yeah, it takes a lot to decipher it. So I've only gone through the stuff that I think you guys want to know. As I say, this is 45 pages, and I've been able to narrow it down to 8, or just over 17. So, guys, one more thing. I'm a qualified accountant. I know the accounts inside out for every Premier League club. Right. Well, explain where the money's gone, mate. So thank you very much for your time. If you're new around here and you like what I'm doing, as I say, you've done it. By all means, please do subscribe to the channel and do hit the notification bell to get to know more when you get to know when new content is going up. Like video as a mark of respect for John's time. Thank you, Jay-Z. Much appreciated, mate. I haven't seen your name for a while. And guys, thank you very much for your time. Anybody watching the replay, put your comments in the comment section below. As always, please share this content with anybody you feel may want to watch it. And also, please do like this video as Jay-Z has done. If you do like it, then by all means do like it as well, because the more likes this video gets, the more exposure that this video gets to the to YouTube in general. So guys, thank you very, very much for your time. I will see you on on Thursday night we'll do a live preview of the Man City away game. It's not going to take us very long. We're going to get creamed. That's it. But guys, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you sticking around. And the majority of the comments that I've been able to read, have been very, very supportive. So thanks very much for your time. And I will see you very, very soon. All the best now. Take care.